Welcome everybody to the Nonprofit Edge, and can you believe this is episode 8 with our title Beyond Page Views, measuring what really matters on your nonprofit website. In fact, what we have found is that nonprofit websites and really finding out what matters out there and how you can really measure engagement and get the most out of your website is one of the biggest, most important topics we're hearing out there that people want more information about. And so we are going ahead and fulfilling that request. And of course, we have Joe, our amazing host.
Good to see you.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Perfect topic for you, right?
I would hope so. After 24 years, you know.
Yeah, so we're kind of taking a different approach here because you are our iMIS expert, and iMIS is one of the platforms that the majority of nonprofits have to manage their websites, manage their content, manage their engagement, and go ahead and give them a really good sense of what is happening as far as their marketing, good pulse, rate on what is on the radar. And so this is kind of going to be a deep dive into what you can do with iMIS, and you're going to share some tips and tricks that some people may not be aware of that iMIS offers that they can capitalize on to really move the needle. And so I'm really excited for you to go ahead and share that. So I have some really good questions that I'm going to ask you. So for those of you who use iMIS, you want to be here, let's pull out a notebook, let's pull out a pen, a pencil, let's start taking notes, because once you leave here and you can start implementing these, I think, really very easily. So are you ready?
I want to mention too, if any iMIS clients out there have any follow-up questions, they can always reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to put in the time.
Absolutely. And what's great is you offer a complimentary consultation out there where you can sit down with them and talk after this.
Yeah, for prospects and for existing clients. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so my first question is that a lot of nonprofits judge the success of their website based on page views and traffic. And so what should they really be paying attention to instead?
Well, obviously page views are important. So I would not necessarily instead, I would say in addition to.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think when it comes to measuring, it really comes down to who, what, when, where, and how much, right? But who is where the action is. But traditional, online like Google Analytics and things like that, you never know who the who is. So you really can't take any action. So who kind of adds a whole nother dimension to the data that you get. The only way to create a tailored experience is to know who, right? If you don't know who the person is on the other end, you're not going to be able to tailor this experiences for them. Also, I think, there are some great features now in the iMIS marketing module, marketing campaigns. And I think a lot of clients aren't using that. And we actually have a great new resource to help with that. Sarah Grill is graduating with honors from Johns Hopkins with a master's in marketing, and she's coming on board as a consultant. So we're really excited to offer those services. But once you have all that set up, you can pass a marketing code to any page, and that marketing code, and for a purchase or for other things, it'll actually record the source of how the person heard about. To really show what marketing's working. And then, of course, when you want to talk about measuring web engagement, obviously Click Tracker is always in that discussion. Click Tracker is a very powerful tool, records impressions and clicks across all of your authenticated websites. And you not only know who clicked, but you know who is interested, like as an advertiser or a staff person or a member. That's kind of a summary of what I was thinking on that one.
And Click Tracker is a very easy integration because it was designed to be integrated right within iMIS. And it's a complete step up from Google Analytics. It goes much, much deeper for people to
Yeah. And
understand.
once you have that in, once you're getting that data in with iMIS, then all of your other data that's important to you, you can use those as KPIs against that engagement. Yeah.
So your website is really being used as the highest end marketing tool. You
Yeah.
have your toolbox is what we're looking at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about Rise for a minute. What can a Rise website really offer for member engagement? And then what can be collected from other websites when we look into iMIS? How are they kind of working synergistically with each other?
Well, that's a great question. So iMIS, when done right, is your single source of truth. So you've got all of your important information in one place. So a lot of the things that a lot of organizations do more or less out of the box is track when people log in. So actually record a login activity. You can also track when people change their credentials. You can keep track of when people make updates to their own profile. So it'll actually record all those. And then also, and this is an important pro tip for those using iMIS panels, if you want to track changes to your data that you set up that's specific to your organization, you got to check that box, log all changes. And so, that's going to measure how often they're changing their record. I think we also mentioned adding proper source codes to URLs. So if you got a product and you want to market that product, make sure you put that source code in the URL. They buy it. Now it's logged as that marketing campaign. It allows you to assign a dollar value to your marketing, what revenue you generated from it. I think another important thing too is clients need to make sure that all of their business websites are all properly set up with an iMIS bridge, because you can only measure engagement if it's writing the activity data. So by having a proper bridge set up with Zoom for webinars or Constant Contact for marketing or whatever other systems you're using, with that bridge, you make sure all that information goes in as well, so you can measure it for your engagement. And then, of course, there's nothing better at measuring engagement than Click Tracker, especially knowing who did what. Yeah.
So that kind of leads me into the next question. Are these tools that people are underutilizing? Like what you just mentioned was a lot of great information. Do you find that people do not know about these? They're just not aware, or they're underutilizing them?
I think it's a combination of things. I think well, first of all, there are a lot of improvements that were made within the last 3 or 4 years. So there are maybe some features that a lot of people aren't aware of. I think for smaller organizations, maybe because they've got their resources doing busy work and things, they don't have the time to do the setup or the things involved. The larger clients a lot of times will outsource it. And so that data is actually stored in their vendor's database and not in iMIS. So the vendor has no interest. Most vendors have no interest in setting it up in iMIS. They have their own system, but the problem with that is that it doesn't track. So we've had a few larger clients that have outsourced it. And then we just basically, there's an import process where you can generate files from the third-party system and import your marketing campaign data. So we've been doing that for a few clients. I guess the question is, what are people underutilizing? Is that, am I getting it?
Yeah. I guess, are there training sessions people can take? Are those offered by like consulting companies like ourselves, or do they have to go to iMIS training in order to understand what they're underutilizing? Or, I mean, that is kind of the next question. Do they just not know about this? And
I would always recommend go to the Learning Hub and take, I think there's 2 or 3 marketing courses. There's usually a basic and an advanced. Usually you got to pass the basic to take the advanced. I'd recommend organizations have those in the marketing department. Get on your website and follow along the training on your website with that. And that's a good starting point. Also, help.imis.com has a lot of documentation on how things work. But for the marketing campaign, basically, it's segments from a campaign to an appeal to a solicitation to a source code. And a source code is a specific touch. and then you just kind of figure out what your campaigns are, and then you segment them. Usually the campaign can be like permanent, and then the appeal would be like segmented by year, but it can be set up however you want. And if you are doing this already with a third-party system, you can import that right into iMIS, so you can track what's working in iMIS.
Okay. Okay. Good information that there are hubs out there, because I think people get so bogged down that they may not know all the things that are available to them. I have to tell you, I have to go searching for different learning opportunities out there. You know, there's a lot involved.
I don't think the Learning Hub video is going to make you an expert on it, but it's definitely going to get you, I mean, consultants, that's where we start. We start there. But I think ultimately, reach out to your reseller or another iMIS partner to help you understand the tools. But at the end of the day, especially if you're like, we had our client Phi Beta Kappa outsourced everything, so we ended up doing a file import. So they're not really adding to their workflow. They're just kind of like, okay, marketing people, do your thing. Just send us what we need to know to put it in iMIS so we can track what's working. That kind of thing. There were some other things I listed. You want me to keep going on this question, or you want to go to the next one?
Well, we talk about simple ways nonprofits can use iMIS better to understand what people are doing on their site. We kind of mentioned ClickTracker a little bit. Because at the end of the day, we need to really get a good understanding about what iMIS offers to collect data, to drive the creative, to drive what the next steps are, to really get a good understanding of what people are engaging in order to take that next step in order to reach them, acquire them, retain them. And so we've got to understand this better.
Yeah, and like to nonprofits out there that's saying, okay, our AI plan, we're going to start implementing our plan in 2028 for AI. We're going to roll out AI. Well, guess what? AI needs data. So start thinking about what data you want to collect now, so you have something for AI to look at. That's kind of where we're at that stage. Yeah.
So when we look at iMIS, you are the expert in iMIS. I have to say that if anybody knows about what iMIS can do, how does iMIS compare to maybe another option out there that somebody could be looking at, maybe a legacy product, a homegrown thing? How does it compare? We may be going a little bit off script here, but in your experience, what can they do with this to really elevate their organization into the next couple of years?
So I know I've told this story before, but coming into the nonprofit sector in 2002 as a developer and a consultant, is I was constantly building enhancements because the product worked the way that product worked back then. So ever since about 2020, since they rolled out EMS, they have made iMIS extendable. So now all those things that you want to do unique to your organization, you can build the systems in iMIS. You don't have to hire a developer. Now, not every client resources are going to get up to speed quickly, but certainly, you work with a partner, let your partner do some of the really heavy lifting, but most of the stuff clients can do themselves. So you can really extend out iMIS. Also, as the software as a service model, the security is second to none. If you're self-hosting your own stuff, your threats are going exponential. You don't want to be self-hosting your own system in 5 years from now. You want to start making a plan to move into some hosted environment where they have the resources and the technology to keep your data safe. There's just a lot of reasons. I guess the fact that iMIS comes with a content management system. A lot of the competitors, they have to pay for another. So really, iMIS can really replace, in most cases when we sell iMIS for the first time, iMIS ends up replacing 3 or 4 different packages. So, it's because it does so much. It does your content management. It manages your entire operation. So, I hope that's good enough for an unscripted question.
So give me a list of what you mentioned: content management, events, right? All their outreach, all their data analytics of how it's performing so that they can pivot, And we've talked about what the website should look like now. It shouldn't just be a brochure. It really needs to be an engagement model based on all of the AI changes that are out there, because people can get content really anywhere. We've talked about Gen Z and what they want. They have really got to step up their game on what their website looks like. So they've got to dive into iMIS.
Yeah, with a focus on mobile for sure.
Yes. Yes.
And be
Do
aware,
you find they're
customers,
not doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you could have the best mobile website design in the world, but if somebody puts a table that's 1,200 pixels wide, hard coded, then you're going to have a problem on a mobile. So you got to, you get a little bit of training. People have to know what they're doing, But yeah, iMIS is a complete enterprise system. So you've got billing, you've got donations, online donations, fundraising, marketing, you've got your online events, online store, you've got online communities, you've got a website, you've got a email marketing system. It's just all these things built into one system is just so powerful. And then having everything in one place is really important. And that's going to be great for when you add your AI layer, that you've got the core data there in one place.
I have to tell you from personal experience, who does belong to some nonprofits who are not using iMIS, one of the most frustrating things for me is that I can never figure out where I go ahead and sign up as a member. The most important part of, and it's not user friendly.
Or you got to download a PDF, fill it out, sign it, scan it, sign it. It's like, no one's gonna. You're definitely not. I mean, you're gonna get boomers doing that, but you're not going to get Gen Z doing that.
Right. But the checkout process is just not easy. So you have got my attention. I'm interested. I'm like, you know what? I want to join this. And then you're stopping me at the payment process. And people don't have the patience for it. So I think that people have to look at, why are people maybe abandoning a cart? And this allows them to look at the engagement factor, like the whole journey. Why did they stop?
Yeah, actually, Paul at TIA, they actually use Click Tracker to measure who's been clicking around their joint.
Yes.
Yeah, that becomes a hot lead.
Yeah. So what somebody can do with that in Click Tracker is go, you know what? This person came all the way to the journey and they stopped. Let's reach out and see why. There must be a question. Was the friction? Was there too much friction? Did they maybe have a question that we didn't answer along the way? They didn't sign up for our booth. They didn't sign up for an ad. Do we need to answer something? And that's also just personal.
TIA has they have a large, they're official certification body, and they certify organizations, and it's a very complicated, it's the most complicated join I've ever seen. And we got it to work out of the box, which was crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think the joint process, it actually tracks where they left, so they know, like, okay, this person got to step 3, this person got to step, you know what I mean? And now they have this information, they can pull it up in IQA, so now it's easy to just automatically send out marketing touches. Hey, got a special coupon code, whatever, show them you care,
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's personalized. It's a personalized email. People love it when they know it's not a stalking thing. It's, how can I help you? No pressure here. I just want to know what you need from me, how I can help you, and if I can answer a question, because I know you're interested in this. What are your needs?
Or hey, maybe try this trial membership real quick. We'll give you
and we're talking about trial, at the last. Gen Z really likes trial. Let's try it before we buy it. And if this serves our needs, they sign up pretty quick.
It's like a Gucci bag, you want to try it.
It works all the time. I mean, look at all the SaaS products like Canva and websites, and take a 2-week trial. And then once you've done all of it, it's like, it's too hard to go away, right? I'm in it. Yeah. I've got skin in the game here. So, great information here. So let's talk about, you've been doing this a really long time. And if you were sitting down with a client right now, and you've gone through everything, and for clients, for people out there, what final advice, share, what would you advice you'd provide to an iMIS customer right now to maximize website capabilities? Like we've already gone over a couple things, but what, in your experience, do you think is the most underutilized feature out there that people maybe should know, that if they do it, they could really maximize their website?
Well, we'll just go over that.
Did I go off script again?
I don't know. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, I think if you have a third-party system, you're doing webinars through Zoom, build a bridge. Make sure you know who signed up, who actually went, how many minutes they were there. All that can be in there. You can't report. You can't really measure engagement until you get, true engagement until you get all the information in one place. I think you should definitely start off by creating an engagement scoring dashboard for individuals and organizations based on your business key performance indexes, and then go ahead and segment those into, like, for each different departments. Like, for instance, your fundraising department is going to care about different things than your membership department. So each department can have its own engagement dashboard. Then make sure you set that up to run so it records your historical data. I also think that we talked about the campaign management. I think campaign management is very important. That's something that's heavily underutilized. I also think that I think obviously Click Tracker. I mean, I think a lot of organizations probably think Click Tracker is extremely expensive. It's not. It's a reasonably priced product. It adds great value, and it's something that the clients that have it love it. And then they would never do without it. And then what else was I going to mention? I think the iMIS website is completely configurable. So if you've got kind of an old stale website, talk to a great designer. Any design you can come up with can be implemented in iMIS. So you can really elevate your brand that way. But those are just a few of the things that come to mind.
And before we close, can you give just a little bit of advice? I mentioned the website shouldn't be a digital brochure, but we build unbelievable websites for companies that can be integrated, obviously, with iMIS. But what should nonprofits really focus in on in order to really attract people when they land on that website? What today, in order to not be stale, to not look like they're 10 years, 15, even 5 years, from, where they should be before COVID, right? Before COVID, mm-hmm. I mean, it's even stale. What would you recommend they update now?
Okay, well, if you're using another system besides iMIS and you want all this data synced up and keep them in sync, you definitely want to do a bridge for each one of those. We have about 10 bridges built, and those are very affordable. It's a one-time fee for bridges. And we can also help clients self-host. I would recommend nonprofit clients to use iMIS to look at getting their own Azure development operations systems. There's so many features and functionalities that are just not available. And there's always going to be times where you're going to have a request, we need to write data when nobody's logged in. You can't do that without a server-side endpoint, and I also think that a good next step for clients who are thinking about redoing their website would be to do an information architecture project. And so an information architecture project, and we've got about a 10-page worksheet that they just fill out with explanations, but it basically defines their sitemap, it defines their security groups, their content tags. A lot of clients are not using content tags. It's a very powerful feature. User-defined fields, the content folder structure. The whole system is defined before you actually build it. So I think, and those are actually, a lot of times we can do those in 4 hours, 3-4 hours. Work with a client to really fully design, and then once you have this in place, it's really easy to set up because you just follow what's documented. And then I think building and defining building your engagement scoring. Make sure you've got engagement scoring for individuals and organizations for your organization, and then start allowing your team, your department heads to build their own, to segment it so they can see what's important to them. And then last but not least, Click Tracker. I think Click Tracker is going to give you the business intelligence that you really need to know what's working, what's not working, to be able to show your advertisers and members, hey, look at all these people interested in our website and you. To be able to have that data warehouse in place. So when you do roll out AI, you know what people are all about, you know what they're interested in, what they're not interested in. So, I also think I wanted to add this too. It's like, because iMIS is so extendable, if you have a wish list, if you want to do a job board, if you want to do a article management system where your experts can upload articles that you can approve and get free content, all these things are things that are relatively easy to build out. And I wanted to mention our ramp up program real quickly. So we are actually in the process of working on our ramp up program, which is basically a starter database, but it's going to have all these goodies added to it. So clients can kind of pick from a menu, say, oh, I want a job board, or, oh, I want to do a article management. So all these things that we've done for other clients, we're just going to allow them to a la carte menu, choose it. So that's going to be a way for them to really, and so these things that we can offer new clients, we can offer also existing clients at a hefty discount. For opportunity management system, that's an iMIS configuration. Our opportunity management product is an iMIS configuration, and we can just snap our fingers and deploy that out. I think if you've got a wish list of things you want to do, tell your reseller, tell me, and we'll give you a quote. You might be surprised. It might not be as hard as you think to do those things. So
what I'm hearing is that it goes way beyond design at this point. It is technology merged with design, but it's really the back end right now that has to be upgraded. And with AI, it's no longer just the SEO, it's the AIO. And content is critical for the large language models to be picking up.
Yeah, so you need to know what you got to start collecting, guys. Now's the time to collect.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're doing the recommendation of which nonprofit, people should be considering. The data is out there for those large language models to collect in order for you to be front and center. So there's a whole new game out there, and you've got to go to people who really understand it to merge that technology with design to make it pleasing, but to make this work as a powerful engine for you. So I really appreciate Joe, again, bringing it on. And I want to mention that our next show for episode 9 is kind of a teaser you gave about bridges, about Azure. That's what we're going to be talking about in our next episode. Really talking about the magnitude of those bridges and what it can do, and really kind of introducing our listeners, people tuning in, about the power of that. And we've kind of created some powerful things out there that are unique that we do want to share with people out there, because we have an unbelievable technology consultant, Andrew, who is building ones that nobody's ever seen. And again, these could also save a lot of money long term.
Yeah, we now have an Absorb bridge. I think we're the only one with an Absorb bridge. And it's extremely good. Yeah.
Don't say anything yet. They've got to tune in. You got to tune in to hear all about this. So, all right. So we're just about at the end, and I hope you've enjoyed this information. Definitely share the replay with your friends in the nonprofit industry, and of course follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. We're everywhere. Also, we have created the Nonprofit Edge newsletter. Go ahead and subscribe to that. And of course, we have the John Consulting newsletter, our company newsletter. So we have all different ways for you to collect information, the latest information, articles, industry news, things that are going on behind the scenes. And it's all current, latest stuff going on. So we will look forward to seeing you in our next episode. And everybody have a great day. And
all right, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate
All
it.
righty. We'll see you next time.